The stop and frisk trial in Lower Manhattan speeding towards the final witnesses hearing and closing arguments. And today, a key witness back on the stand again. And Dominic, he was in the courtroom as this all went down.
Well, Richard, the trial is indeed winding down and soon will be in the hands of Judge Scheinlein. Central to the case are the controversial words of Bronx Deputy Inspector Christopher McCormick trying to explain his own words. Here at the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan, the trial is in its closing days. Over stop and frisk Deputy Inspector Christopher McCormick spent the second day on the witness stand following his secret recording by whistleblower Officer Pedro Serrano being played in court yesterday, where McCormick said, "Stop the right people at the right time."
This is about stopping the right people, the right place, the right location.
Okay.
Again, take Mott Haven where we had the most problems.
Right.
And most problems we had there was robberies and grand larcenies.
And who are those people robbing?
The problem was what? Male blacks, and I told you the roll call, and I have no problem telling you this. Male blacks 14 to 20, 21.
Meanwhile, here's what one of the lawyers for the plaintiffs had to say today.
And what's the best outcome for you?
Well, the best outcome is that they stop doing this, random suspicionless stops and frisks. The best outcome is that they start respecting communities of color.
The city of New York maintains the NYPD has done nothing wrong, that stop and frisk saves lives. What remains, Richard, are closing arguments. They are set for Monday in this non-jury trial. The city will go first and then the plaintiffs. Now on the stand the remainder of this week, the new NYPD Chief of Patrol, James Hall, and then so-called remedy witnesses from both sides. That means if Judge Scheinlein does find liability, what each side would expect the judge to do at that point.
You know, in many ways, that soundbite that we played again, that they played again for the, it's the crux of the trial.
It is. It really is.
Because McCormick will hear it and say, "I hear that to say that's who's doing and where it's happening.
Who's committing the crime.
I'm not telling anybody
to be racist.
Right. And then people say, well, wait a minute. If you say go after male blacks 14 to 21, what about everyone else caught up in the wash? And he says, I didn't tell him to do that. So it's two people hearing something different from the same thing, isn't it?
And I don't mean to be a comedian about this because it's a very serious topic. We could have saved 8 weeks here. Yeah. We could have played that one soundbite for Judge Scheinlein and get her interpretation of that one soundbite.
I mean, you gave the timetable, Dominic.
Yes.
Just so everybody knows. No jury, as you've kept saying here.
Right. All in the hands of Judge Scheinlein.
She's got this in another simultaneous court case going on right now where she's hearing also stop and frisk. She's going to have discretion, and that's, I guess, what this balance of the week's going to hear about, what the remedies might look like, hearing some of the witnesses, to say, I want the practice changed. And obviously, as we said, November will also have something to do with it, with the new mayor who's going to implement with the new police chief, whatever this will look like. So this isn't a black and white, pardon the pun, definition. It's going to be kind of shades of gray.
You're 1,000% correct. Perhaps our counsel at the table can help me here. But what I was shocked to find out today, this ruling is not going to come in the next week. It could take 7 to 9 weeks before the judge issues her ruling.
And then, Richard, there's implementation after that, right?
There is. That could take forever.
Right.
But look, something this serious, you don't want the judge deciding in the next 2 days. You want judge to review the testimony, review the records, review the evidence.
But I thought it would come in a week, and I was wrong.
Well,
have you heard from attorneys whether there's going to be an instant appeal no matter what the ruling is?
That's probably a safe bet. But what the plaintiffs say they want is a court monitor, something you've been talking about, and a change in policy, something you just mentioned. The city wants things to remain exactly the way they are.
And that won't happen, though, because we know we're going to have a new mayor no matter what. And almost every candidate, with the exception of Joe Lota, said it will be different if they're mayor.
But it might, because Bill Thompson, who's getting the backing of law enforcement unions, the only African-American in the race, has said that he agrees with stop and frisk.
It's funny you mentioned that. We're going to be talking about that next segment, including the mayor's race here. But on the subject of stop and frisk and the subject of our online poll these last couple days, we've been asking you at home to sound off. And again, we do so tonight. Is stop and frisk effective policing, or is it a procedure really that's out of control and needs to change? Okay, keep your reaction coming. We'll get to that tomorrow night. Now, next up, we're going to be talking about a very personal revelation that Christine Quinn, also a candidate for mayor, had to make today. But some people are wondering, A, will this help her, but also B, the timing of this. We're going to get into that and more after this.